Oh, you are early.
I see a little silhouette of a man.
Scaramouche, Scaramouche, do we do the thunder?
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you gumpers.
Hey, hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with Good Morning Portugal show live stream and the podcast. How are you? Good morning to you, lovely podcast listeners over there who are hearing me between your ears at other times of the day. Do send me a message, please, Carl at goodmorningportugal.com. Always nice to get a bit of feedback from the podcast listeners, the Cinderella of the Good Morning Portugal community. How are you doing? And yeah, it'd be nice to have a few more podcast listeners over there on the GMP VIP platform as well, which is eye-wateringly growing by the day, bulging. It is. I think you might well be able to hear the voice of Mrs. M from time to time. Hey, Mrs. M, how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm full of the joys of spring.
No.
I sound a bit like Joe. What's her name?
What? Joe Brand.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy.
Yes, well, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's cheered
Full
you
of
up.
the joys of spring.
Sir Lion H is here this morning. The Ancient
hello.
Mariner. Good morning, Portugal, from the Ancient Mariner. He's survived Kent. By the sound of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you didn't have to spend that long there, did you?
Oh, stop it.
I mean, try 18 years.
Listen,
Then come back and tell me how.
Stop it. Coach Turner's in. He's a champion, you know.
He is.
He's in the top 5 sprinters in the Masters
and
class.
he's enjoying the Happy Hump Day.
Is that right?
Isn't
what
that
he said?
good?
I've not seen that so far. Mind your back. T-Duck is in as well, never needing an excuse to take a nap. So the wise men of the Gunpocalypse have been in this morning. What? What have you seen? You read very quick. I thought I read quickly. You're reading all these
put loads in. That's great.
comments. Okay. You know, you can crank up that machine and look at it there if you want to.
I much prefer looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I feel like I'm slightly on edge, having to watch my behaviour when you're with us in the.
Do you know what? That's how I feel like when I'm working next to you. You know, since we've been working together.
Yeah.
I almost need to put a screen. You know, like at.
Oh, yeah, because we work side by side now, don't we?
Yeah, well, not when I'm doing my clients.
It's open plan. We need cubicles, don't we?
I actually feel like, you know, when you're using a cash point.
Yes.
And they've, the
I'm
screen
looking
is set
over
back.
at your PIN number.
Yes, I feel like you're looking
metaphorically.
Yeah, we need to have a bit of division again.
You think so? Oh, you're
Maybe
never happy,
bit.
are they, these women? Did I just say that out loud?
You did. You just alienated half of your audience.
Well, no, they might just stay to give me hell.
Oh yeah.
You never know. As some people have done already on Facebook.
Oh my goodness.
Do not go there. Love the background.
But if you are friends with Facebook, there is a very narky Facebook person who I've blocked several times.
Right. Well, I might come back to him on Jazz Hands warning. Where is Mrs. You've been promoted. You're just a talking rooster. The voice of the rooster.
I'm just a talking rooster. Oh yes, it does look like
you were ready to get annoyed then, angry then, weren't you? And it was just a nice little amusing comment from Douglas.
I wasn't going to get annoyed with Dougie. How are you feeling, Dougie?
Dougie is making the transfer, I think, to a more local hospital. So he's had the very best that the NHS can give a man, I think.
Yeah.
A bit like Gillette.
I was about to say it sounds like a Gillette advert you're doing.
And if it was like the Remington company, he liked the NHS so much he bought it. Was that Victor Kayam? I think it might have been Victor Kayam, right? All right. So Francis is in. Antonio F. Dougie, who sounds like he's feeling a lot better. Fantastic. Excellent. It's Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. At least someone's taking it seriously. Any brunch recommendations for Braga? I've got a picture of Braga.
I can't actually answer that question.
No, but we will be going there on our touring of the Portugal, won't we?
Of the Portugal.
Yeah.
Did you say it was 844 years old today?
That's a significant birthday.
I must do the birth chart for it.
Do you want a little bit of a heads up then on some of the background of that? Because there are birthdays and there are birthdays, aren't there? You know.
Yeah.
All right. So
I need the time, place, and date of birth.
All right. I'll see what I can do with that. Braga. Okay. First picture I wanted to show you of Braga was of Centurions. This might be Molio Maximus, the famous centurion at the front
of
there.
Sauce.
Yep, Max Gravy leading the troops. Braga Romana. You would never say, what have the Romans ever done for us with them coming your way, would you?
No.
You'd whisper that quietly at the back. But don't they look magnificent?
I'd probably run out and flee.
And they're wearing skirts as well, men in skirts, predating our fashion tips by 2,000 years or so.
Do you know what that really shows?
What?
Apart from
when a man wears a skirt, what does it show? When he bends over, you mean?
Well, it's actually I think it's a bit like when you've got like a bare chest, or like when you've got your décolletage on display.
Décollage or décolletage? Décollage is when you stick bits of paper on your chest, isn't it?
That's découpage.
It's a good look in a woman. Are you looking at my décollage? My découpage. I'm so sorry, but those torn pieces from a woman's magazine just caught my eye. Forgive me. Sorry, carry on.
That's perfect. No, it's like standing with your legs open and your hands on your hips. In terms of body language, it's signaling I am not threatened by you. Which is why I'm not
hard. I can wear a skirt.
Yeah, I don't care if my bits are hanging out in a vulnerable way, because I feel so in my power. There's nothing you can do about it.
They could be ripped off in battle, and I wouldn't.
P.S. Catch an eye full of this.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
and hence,
it's actually quite threatening.
So that is what the
really
Romans did for us.
Yeah.
Okay, and
they taught us how to
be proud.
Yeah.
How to just wear a pelmet into battle. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Excellent stuff. Braga brunch. What? I feel an alliteration coming on. So I think Sir Lion H coming to the aid of Darren, who will be in Braga today. If there's a Gumper in Braga, you know what the deal is.
It's like Tinder, isn't it?
You're meant to buy lunch for the incoming Gumper.
It's like
just
Tinder.
Made that up.
That's not true. It's like Tinder.
Could be, though.
It's like Tinder for.
Should we start a new dating site called Gumper? You've got Grindr, you've got Tinder. We could have Gumper. Could we not? Gumpers meeting Gumpers.
It'll be mostly men in their 50s though meeting each other. So maybe not for dating.
What is wrong with that?
Unless that's how they swing. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, quickly backtracking and reframing your comments about my new Gumper site.
In fact, they might be doing that anyway.
Scrap GMP, scrap GMP VIP. We're going all glory hole, and we're gonna be going for the full-on Gumper dating site. I need some white label software for this dating business. Douglas. Portugal, 844 years old. Time to get a new one. Okay, I am going to tell you about Portugal's birthday. I was going to save it when the doc joins us, because he's a mine of information and he might like a bit of Portugal history. But we can come back and we can mention it again. We've been well blessed with memes. Wasn't that a cracker? You would have heard, if you rewind and listen to the beginning of the show again, you will hear me and Mrs. M singing, I See a Little Silhouette of a Man. Sing it at home, please. Scaramouche, Scaramouche. There was also this that came up on the internet yesterday. This is like it's not Facebook, is it? Is it when kids graduate from primary school and they all have to say things? Or maybe this was a project. What scares you most? Paul says werewolves. What scares you most? Nina says sharks. Yeah. Well, he's seen too many werewolf movies, isn't he, that kid? Or games or whatever. What scares you the most? Dylan says, young Dylan. Now, I probably was most like Dylan at school.
And me.
Yeah, the unstoppable marching of time that is slowly guiding us all towards an inevitable death. Sounds like deep thought already, Dylan, who must have been all of 6 years of age. And then the young lady at the bottom of the picture. What scares you most, young lady? Dylan does miss. Oh, fantastic. And we have other memes. We're going to come back when the doc joins us to this beautiful question in expats in Portugal Q&A. Can anyone tell me if Portugal has running water like in the States? There are some amusing answers there. We will return to them.
I want to see that.
And what, Mrs. M, what should you do if you're addicted to seaweed?
That's so good. Seek help.
Very good. I can't credit maybe that was Becky who was doing yoga at 6 this morning in the Devon countryside. That was an interesting live stream. But the bird song was off the charts, off the scale. It was fantastic. Well done, Becky G. Rogers, who tunes in from time to time from Devon in the UK as well.
Let me just check. Who was it that said it was the 844th birthday?
It was Tony Time. Antonio Barbosa, who's celebrating a birthday in Portugal. I'm going to share it with you now because you clearly want to know about this. And then we'll go back to deep thoughts.
So far, I've found 4 different dates of birth for it.
Oh, seriously? Okay. Yeah, well, let me see if this
astrology,
helps. Let's before we go to no, hold it on there, because if I don't do my God Squad tip of the day, deep thought, Kane Sabia, and Portuguese saying that it might just disappear, and that's not good. So yeah, the voice you can hear is Mrs. As she's called now. Thank you, Dougie. Bon dia, Gumpers, and happy hump day. Oh, I see. Have the delights of spreading compost and mulch today. Not a euphemism, a gardening input there. So maybe a tad tired later, which brings me neatly onto. I see that he didn't just throw this together, which brings me neatly onto the God Squad tip of the day. Or what's the T? A tad tired tip of the day. This isn't thrown together, you know. Excellent stuff, Coach T. Champion, top 5 in the UK, Masters sprinter. God Squad tip of the day then. Top sprint athletes may have at least 2 training sessions a day, so need to recover in between. Most that I know will sleep in the afternoon before their next session. I think that is absolutely the
sounds like
lifestyle
your perfect job.
I have made a decision, a big life decision. Oh, you're off. Was it something I said?
No, I might have Portugal's birthday.
Oh, I see. She just walked off, but you can't see that because she was out of shot anyway. I've just made a life decision actually to consciously, well, I suppose it's unconsciously, have a nap in the afternoons. I have been enjoying more than I've ever done in my life, and I'm actually going to, rather than have it as a guilty pleasure, I think I'm going to program it in like a champion, as Coach Turner is saying here. Anyone else want to join me? We can set our clocks to have a nap at the same time and know that Gumpers all over the world are snoozing and holding the space for peace and love, whilst not, you know, at least it keeps us off the streets, doesn't it, at that time in the afternoon. So if you see me in my front garden with my hat jauntily placed over my eyes to keep the sun out of my eyes here on the Silver Coast, keep the noise down. It helps the body and mind recover, you know, Mrs. M. That's my excuse anyway. And T-Duck never needs an excuse to take a nap. So
I think that's why I was in bed yesterday.
Because you don't take enough naps?
No, because I hurt my leg and I'm trying to recover it.
Oh, I see. You're comparing yourself to an athlete now.
Yes, I am.
Bon dia, Gumpers. Bon dia, Alegria, Gumpers. Stop poking me with a pen from the side of the screen, please. Deep thought then. The 2 most powerful warriors are patience and time.
Ooh.
It's true. It was quite a struggle to become patient. I was very impatient about it, but I think I'm more patient. Would you agree? Than I've ever been in my life? Or have you not noticed? Come on, hurry up. Answer the question.
About some things you're very relaxed, and about other things you're not very.
I see.
So you are going in the right.
Don't push it, don't force it. Patience isn't my best virtue when I'm in the mood for love. Not then.
Even then.
Tolstoy's, yes, it's tantra training, you know. Tolstoy's ideas on non-violent resistance expressed in such works. Could you stop rocking the table, please? People wonder what's going on. They might think I've got a Roman skirt on. Stop it! Tolstoy's ideas on non-violent resistance expressed in such works as The Kingdom of God is Within You had a profound impact on pivotal 20th century figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. Leo Tolstoy, everyone. The 2 most powerful warriors are patience and time. And hopefully they get learned. Are you aging elders of the Gumper community? Would you say you're becoming more patient or less patient? With all this nonsense in the world at the moment. Portuguese saying, cabeça dá-lhe choco.
A head of dry garlic?
Yeah, when one is a little distracted, the Portuguese might say to you, you have a head of dry garlic.
Yikes.
Isn't that great? Bobby O'Reilly joining us at 9:30. We're talking paella, football teams, and I sent him a picture of some liver yesterday, some parfait chicken liver. He didn't respond. Maybe he just vomited quietly. Because some people would Oh, I see. And he's saying,
I think he might like a bit of liver.
You think so? We'll find out later on. He avoided the question yesterday, but we will be talking about paella, and which I think is the correct pronunciation. Paella. Would you like to say that?
No.
Do you remember Vesta paella? They used to come in a little plastic bag.
No.
You don't remember Vesta? They're around the time when you were born, I suppose.
Decade between us, though, isn't there? So that might be why.
All right. And I'm just reminded by Bobby and the doc that I need to send them the link for the show. Would be helpful, wouldn't it?
That would be very helpful.
There you go. That's that. And we do need to find out about Portugal's 844th birthday, which it is today. Thank you very much, Antonio Barbosa, for that. The Quem Sabia, based on Roman. There's quite a few mentions of the Romans this morning. Their skirts and now their chronicles. Their
chronicles.
They used to hang out from underneath their skirts. About the Galaisi people. It is easy to infer there was a matriarchal society with a military and religious aristocracy of the feudal type in Portugal. I wonder if there's a connection between the matriarchal society and Romans wearing skirts.
Well, it's still quite matriarchal
here in Portugal.
And the matriarchs do wear skirts with their housecoats, don't they?
Yes. When are you going to make the full transition into wearing a housecoat, Portuguese style?
When you buy me one.
There you go. Stand by for pictures, everybody. Housecoat. It's a good thing, isn't it? You don't get your day clothes.
I mean, we drove past a woman who had a matching housecoat and matching house pants the other day, didn't we?
Was she the one who was making her way towards the dumpster with the
That's
rubbish?
Right. Yeah.
So she had, what was it, like a pastel plaid design or something like that? Pastel plaid.
I think it was like a pale pink gingham,
tops and bottoms.
Yes.
That's what I was calling pastel plaid, like a pastel gingham. Okay. Yeah. The figures of, if you weren't lost already on the Good Morning Portugal show, you are now. The figures of maximum authority were the chieftain in the Castro or clan, and the druid. You see, this is where it's all gone wrong, isn't it? You need a chieftain and a druid. You need the mystical.
Be the druid. Can I be the druid?
I think all good partnerships need somebody in the rational and somebody in the mystical.
Well, that's like us then, isn't it?
Yeah, rather than, I think we're two mysticals, aren't we? The mysticals are also hanging out from beneath the Roman skirt this morning. The figures of maximal authority were the chieftain in the Castro clan and the druid, mainly referring to medical and religious functions that could be common to several Castros. This is a very good insight into how things perhaps were a little more balanced back in the day. Although, before anyone says it, life expectancy was only 15 or whatever. Yeah. The first documented references to Castro society are provided by chroniclers, great word, of Roman military campaigns such as Strabo, Herodotus, and Pliny the Elder, among others. Men would sit in inns, wouldn't they? Were you in that Strabo conflict? Yeah, terrible. Terrible. It wasn't as bad as Herodotus, though, was it? No. Want another drink? Yeah. They describe the inhabitants of the Galaisi of northern Portugal as a group of barbarians who spend the day fighting. They sound like the British. A group of barbarians who spend the day fighting and the night eating, drinking, and dancing under the moon. That's the Algarve in the summer, isn't it? that's what rekindled the spirit of Galaisi in the Algarve in Albufeira this year. A group of barbarians who spend the day fighting and the night eating, drinking and dancing under the moon. Fantastic.
Do they fight? I don't know that they do.
The British have got such a reputation for fighting. I think there's a chronicle of some French diarists who are about to face the British in battle the next day. They can hear them in the distance fighting with each other the night before they're fighting the French. And this French chronicler says that they're barbarians. If they're not fighting us, they're fighting each other. That's what we moved away from, love.
Yeah.
Deagle, dad jokes squirreled away. Deagle, bon dia, Carl, and Gumpers from a fourth and dry and lovely day. Now, that's another thing I was going to share with you.
What's that?
This morning was a really good cartoon. I wonder, did I send it? I might have sent it to T-Duck earlier on this morning. And it's a funny. Yes, it is. I'm going to down this. This is very good. This is a good connection because we've got Deagle there who snuck in a song, Lovely Day. See in the comments if you can sneak in any other songs, because I was going to ask you to do that anyway based on the cartoon that I'm about. I'm going to have to talk you through this one because it's tiny. The writing is tiny. It's a sort of cartoon that Gumpers scroll past when it's on their timeline because they can't see the words.
Good gracious.
So I will read it for you, everybody. I need to take off Deagle's comment for just a moment for this. Oh, hold on a minute. Love the background. Thank you very much. Okay. Welcome everyone then to the My Name Is in a Famous Song and People Won't Stop Singing It at Me support group. Okay. Does anyone want to speak first? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. Well then, how about you? Roxanne! Oh my God! It just slipped out. I'm so sorry. How could you? Yeah, come on, Eileen.
Very good.
Isn't that good? And Deagle's leading the way there with a lovely day that he's just snuck into the conversation.
Very good.
Nice one, Deagle. Okay.
Let's see how many we can sneak in.
Right. Yeah, please do. In your comments this morning, try and do it in the form of a song. We've got some fantastic footage of a great band at Communities Unite. I hope they'll be the band that will play when we do our Silver Coast.
You know what? That was really good. I really liked how they did their song. And for Guy, he was just such a great performer.
Yes. Huh? What?
You didn't see
Song for Guy?
Yeah.
Wow, that was
quick.
Yeah, that needed lubrication. That was yes. Okay, very nicely slipped into the conversation. Yes. Bon dia, Carl. Okay, from the lovely day in a lovely day. Shall I hold that note or not? No. In Belfast, it could take a long time, couldn't it? 8 degrees, high of 17. Nice weather makes so many people happy. Lots of smiles about the city. And share the love. Don't forget to share the love as Benjamin was doing. I must do mine this morning. I know who I'm going to send it to. I sent a little message to my mum this morning. And why are you laughing?
Sorry.
You rascal rotter. Okay. Have you done it today? Are you doing share the love, sending people a
message?
Yeah,
I've already sent a message to Will on your timeline.
That wasn't a message of love, as far as I can gather. Happy Brothers Day. Oh, 24th of May, a day when you celebrate your brother doing something nice for him. So you could roll it up together. So it's celebrate your brother. So whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, it's actually Brothers Day today.
Yeah.
24th then, when you celebrate your brother or do something nice for him. Okay, and tell him how much you love him today.
You're gonna
if you do, that is, don't be inauthentic about it. I mean, if you don't love your brother, if there's beef, how about handing him? If there's beef, how about handing an olive branch to go with that beef?
What if you have a brother from another mother?
Well, that could cause a lot of trouble reaching out, especially if they don't know that fact. Bom dia, Gumpers. Stop it. Feliz carta a todos como tem passado from Paul Simon's inspiration for Slip Sliding Away. And a visual dad joke from you. Although, where's it gone? Well, you sent me some good ones in the last couple of days there, Super Slug. Oh, yes, you sent the image of the pizza. Oh, no, I'm saying pizzas. Nothing to do with pizzas, but you'll understand why I'm thinking it's to do with pizzas. This went missing. What's the difference then between the captain's chair and a toilet? I don't know. And the punchline for this is... So it was you. Very good. Bon dia todos. Just returned from beautiful Bilbao. Amazing city. Ooh, Iberian action from Jim White up there in Porto this morning. Thank you very much, James, for the Star Trek, Trekkie-based humour there. And you sent another one in, which is bananas. This is very Portuguese, isn't it? Bananas without the B is pineapple. I'm going to leave that hanging.
Yes, that's true.
Clever stuff, huh?
Yeah, very.
And that's why it made me think of pizzas, but of course... Well, we could talk more about pizzas and pineapple, because here in Portugal is where we had the first pineapple with peach on.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
And we've seen pizza with banana on as well, haven't we?
Yep.
Like fruity pizza. I think it's.
Do you know what though? I do prefer those to the awful Kit Kat pizzas. They're disgusting.
The Kit Kat pizza was probably
vile,
that was probably over the line, as it were, wasn't it? Good morning, Portugal. Then from the Ancient Mariner.
Hold that line.
Sad not to be seeing you this weekend, but we'll do that another time. Bon dia, Gumpers from Sir Lion H, who's going to help Darren out, I hope, in Braga. And yes, so you are liking the background. A lot of work has gone into this, especially that mother-in-law's tongue behind us. You got 3 plants for the price of 1, didn't you, Mrs.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. Bon dia from Braga. He's already there, so he's looking for a brunch suggestion. And we will be continuing to talk about food when Bobby joins us. He attempted a paella for some Spanish friends. We'll find out how that went on. But there's a man who could sell sand to the Arabs, ice to the Eskimos, right?
And houses to the...
Anyone.
Yeah, anyone that wants a house.
Yes. Good morning. It's sunny here too in Woodbridge, UK.
Where is Woodbridge?
It's in the UK. We'll be visiting Portugal, Lisbon, Algarve in August. Woohoo! Woohoo! Great to see you here, Anna Lucia. I think you were enjoying my religious postings on Facebook just a little bit too much, grabbing your popcorn as you were. Bon dia alegria. Anna's here as well. Just returned after a 4-day car cruise around the Alentejo. We really enjoyed sharing your video. And it was so peaceful. It was so peaceful. I'll tell you where else is peaceful. John joined us on the Portugal Club last night from Trondheim.
Oh, wow.
He sent this sunset at about 9 o'clock last night, I think, 8 o'clock. And he was still sitting in the sun at 10.
His face was glowing.
He was glowing, wasn't he? Like he'd been
resplendent.
drinking iron brew or something like that.
Yeah.
And mixed with ready break. So hold on a minute. And also, he earlier on in the day, or in the tour that he's currently on, there's which islands would these horses be on around Scotland?
Shetland.
Well done. Yes, and this picture, which looks like a painting, so still is it? I think that might be Trondheim. It's certainly up there in Scandinavia. And when he was talking to us, there was such an atmosphere of stillness in Scandinavia.
It was beatific, wasn't it?
It was beatific until the biker gang came past. Maybe they're the modern Vikings, but it was really noisy when they came past. And then it returned to this beautiful stillness. So thank you, John, for your beautiful pictures of your tour around the British Isles and then up to Scandinavia, where you are currently, I think. And yeah, keep those pictures coming. Thank you very much. Dougie sent this one in as well. This is an octopus on a roundabout. Can anyone identify this roundabout? But look at that glowing octopus, my friend, the illuminated octopus. I forgot to share that before, so I wanted to make sure it was shared today. And great news, Dougie, that you're making a great recovery. Fantastic stuff. Mrs. M, you sound like you're about to make a comment of some sort. I can tell, I can feel it. A disturbance in the force next to me.
No.
Oh, you play with me.
I put in hold the line and you totally ignored that. You spoke over it.
I asked people to mention tunes. You did.
Yeah, I've mentioned two now.
I'm so sorry. Have you? Did I miss another one?
You did.
Okay, where is Woodbridge? Bon dia Gumpers from Anna. And Mrs. is just next door to me, Douglas. Any brunch recommendations for Braga then? Francis, bon dia, criaturas. Carl, we may worry about AI, but I'm more concerned about those plants taking over. P.S. Where's Mrs. M? I can hear her, but not see her. It's the plants and the rooster talking. I do love it. Not when she fiddles in my face when I'm trying to broadcast. Diego, looks like your greenhouse. You're in a greenhouse this morning.
That's the idea, actually.
Yeah, it is a green screen. It's a real green.
It was my suggestion, wasn't it? I've wanted greenery around me.
And then what pushed me over the edge was seeing those fantastic DJs on YouTube. And they've got this beautiful studio, haven't they? Which is what gave us the inspiration. This isn't anything like they've got. I mean, they're in a room full of plants. But I think this will change the atmosphere, literally.
Yeah, and it's going to grow.
And we're downstairs now. We can open the patio doors out onto the garden.
Patio doors is great.
It's not a song, though, is it?
No.
You're right. Okay, nearly. Great to hear. Things are on the up, Dougie, from Francis as well. Portugal, 844 years old. That's what I promised you, wasn't it, Mrs. M? So we'll come back to Suze, who's also here and already in Alcobaça. I've missed Lidl. Off to say hi to last year's host, Lena, at Casa de Padeira in Gibraltar. And we will see you at the meetup day here on the Silver Coast. So quickly before the doc joins us, although he might be on a school run, so he may join. Oh, there we go. There's the blip. I think we should bring him onto the screen in just a moment because he'll enjoy the history lesson of Portugal. Are you staying for that, Mrs. M? Or have you got to go and make me a coffee?
I've definitely got to go and make a coffee. I've got to check on our kefir cheese as well, see how that's coming on.
Oh, you have all the best jobs. Antonio F, we consider it 880 years independent since 1143. See, you see, as soon as you say it's such and such an age, other historians will come in. And
I've got the 1143 day, but it's listed as the 5th of October on a Google search.
Oh, Antonio, how are we supposed to do an astrological chart for Portugal when we can't even get the date right?
And it would really
So where is a country born in itself?
Well, it usually starts with some kind of constitution.
Okay, but yeah,
like the American chart.
You want a time, so we're trying to find the time. So you want a place, and the place is.
So, for instance, like America's birth chart is currently the 4th of July, 1776.
Yeah.
At whatever time it was in the afternoon in Philadelphia, which I think is where it was all signed into place.
Philadelphia freedom. See what I did there? Thank you. Yeah. Gumper dating app, that would be a riot. Okay, so the jury's still out, and I think the doc is doing his research now because I can see a great big hand in front of the screen. What is he doing?
It looks like he's doing
research,
some kind of. Looks like he's doing an octopus impression.
He is, isn't he? What do you call? He was doing that joke, isn't he? What's this? I did one of these. Visual joke. Yeah. No, Doc's busy. He's not going to be distracted.
Oh no, he's just waved.
He says, "Shut up! Come on! All right, give him a round of applause, everybody, and bring him onto the screen. The Doc is here, everybody. How are you, mate?
Bom dia, tudo bem?
Muito bem, obrigado. All the better for seeing you, which is a Portuguese phrase we haven't had yet.
You're really quiet on here. I don't know why. I'm just gonna.
Unlike me.
Hold on, because this is so quiet. I can't hear you.
We can hear you loud and clear, which is the main thing.
Well, that's fine, but I won't respond to the prompts properly.
You never do. Come on.
Let me get you
okay.
All right, Mrs. M. Mrs. M is going to make coffee, and we'll come back to you. We're going to find out on your behalf when Portugal was born. She's giving you a wave there. Hit that like button and let us know when Portugal was born, if you will, and we'll go through a little bit of history.
I think Portugal has to date its birth from. Well, it is two options, aren't there, really? But I think really it should be when the Count of Portugal was granted Portugal as the Kingdom of Portugal by the Spanish king in recognition of his fantastic, in his lights, contribution to the reconquest of the Iberian Peninsula.
History is written by the counts, isn't it? Total and utter count of Portugal, who bestowed the honor of Portugal upon himself and his country, you're saying? Or did the Spaniards do that? Dog.
Can't hear you.
You definitely can't hear me, can you?
No.
Okay. And there's a funny noise. Would you like to rejoin us? Because we've also got a little tone coming through from time to time.
Yeah, sorry. That's because let me just mute that. There you go. You won't hear that anymore. Oh.
Yeah, famous last words. There you go. All right. So are you hearing us now? And I've got a fly in the studio as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different device that was making that noise. I've restarted trading live as opposed to writing robots to trade, because I just got stuck on some of my coding and got frustrated that I wasn't actually making any progress. So I've gone back to trading Forex live. And unfortunately, one of the periods is between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. So it kind of...
You can include us in this. I mean, if you've got some hot tips coming through.
Well, I trade on a day trading basis, so you have to be able to respond to the markets very quickly. But I've won 0.5% this morning, shorting the pound against the dollar.
Really? You sound like are you teaching capitalism a lesson this morning?
I'm happy to steal money from the capitalists whenever possible.
Oh, here we go. All right. And just at 3 minutes in. Okay. Well,
your prompt, Carl, not mine.
Don't keep it to yourself, Doc. So is there no end to your talents? You've been writing code to watch the markets.
I enjoy maths. Maths was always my my love at school.
Okay.
After pretty girls, of course, but I found trading in the 90s and made a lot of money in a short period of time. Trading, day trading, Nasdaq stocks during the dot-com boom. So both buying and selling them, and I turned £4,000 into £30,000 in 4 months.
Well, come on, Doc. Don't keep it to yourself. We need to learn. Maybe you could teach us how to do it. And then
things have changed. The market's changed. I'm relearning, because I then lost 15,000 of that on a stupid trade in the early hours of the morning when I was bored. And so I took the other 15,000 and put it towards a house. So I've never lost overall in trading, but that was a lesson which kept me out of trading for about 5 years.
And I think a lot of traders have this moment, don't they? I mean, that is the wake up call, isn't it? When you get too cocky. Yeah. Well, this is amazing. So maybe we can move from .com to .com, and we can have our own little .com boom with you mentoring us all in how to make a fortune.
Yeah, could do.
You don't sound entirely like you've bought into that. Anyway,
I don't like to be responsible for other people's
well, quite right.
Gains and losses. If I make my own mistakes and win or lose, that's fine.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah. Okay, point taken. Well, don't mind us. If those trades need to be done, it'd be very exciting.
No. To be honest, Carl, there's not going to be another trade. I'm just watching the one that I'm in. But I won't be. I'm not. My concentration is not. Is not being. It's 95% with you. So don't worry about it.
Well, yes, that's more than most guests, to be fair. So thank you very much. Cheers, Doc. Right, beautiful morning here in Hertfordshire. Only a few vapor trails in the sky. Well, you watch out, because that might stop the sun coming through tomorrow, according to some people. I love the calçada job the council are doing outside. They just dug up what they've relayed to install a drain. Genius. Wow, there's some nice overtime there. We were talking about naps, and as an ex-GP who practiced in the United Kingdom, there's probably a lot of research, isn't there, Doc, to justify and even encourage people to take an afternoon nap. The power snooze as well, of course.
Sorry, I'm just having so much trouble with the sound.
That's all right.
You were talking about what? Sorry.
We were talking about the usefulness of napping, the benefits of napping from an athletic. Napping.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm out of bed straight away, anytime from 5:30 onwards.
Oh, wow.
If I wake before that, I try and get back to sleep. During the day, if I'm sat doing nothing, or if I'm getting bored with whatever's on telly, or even watching for trades, I often will nap very quickly. Oh, I'm now being styled the Wolf of Leiria. Yeah, I like that.
Fantastic. That is superb, isn't it? We've seen you, Doc, live on air at the Man Cave. I think
you have
power snooze, haven't we, from time to time?
Those were partially fueled by excessive consumption of Superboc. It has to be said, which is very good at increasing my temporal propensity for napping. But yeah.
Well, okay, a lot of people pleased to see you. We'll continue talking about napping and Portugal's birthday. We'll try and get to the bottom of that. Antonio F, pleased to see you. Look at Portuglish, very pleased to see you. Look at the size of that greeting. Bon dia, Doc. A long time no see. So much to discuss. How on earth are you? And the lovely Leona. I'm on a train, late for work because the train was late. And Portugal was always here. Some people would just put an official date on it. Yeah, okay, point taken there. And Chris getting ridiculed by his so-called friends here. What time do you call that? Chris, late, no surprises there. Doc trades Forex, brave man. So there you go.
I love it.
You love it. Okay, and Chat GPT might be able to help with the coding, says Darren as well. You use
it'd be funny you should say that. So when I'm getting into a new coding project, now I will go to Chat GPT just to get a very rapid framework and pointers to where to go and which packages to use. Obviously, the final coding is very much my own, but Chat GPT is great for giving you a framework and pointers.
Okay, so there you go, an advocate of the artificial intelligence there, which we're told is going to be bigger than the internet. Do you think that's true, Doc?
I think it's going to be the internet. I think it's going to take over the whole lot. I mean, you know, these large language models are trained on vast swathes of documents, and the internet is nothing if only a collection of documents, whether those are documents that you and I would recognize as documents as such, like PDF files or Word files. But, you know, a web page is just a document. and so the whole of the internet is a series of documents.
Yeah.
And large language models trained on documents, the reason why they can help with coding and structuring stuff is because it learns all of that stuff as well as just docs and PDFs.
And in the same way, then, that you said the internet will become AI and they're interchangeable, basically AI is coding as well, then, isn't it? Coding is AI. There is no AI without coding, is there? Or some protocol. So yeah, okay. So it's all the same thing, but perhaps an evolutionary step for what we've become used to. And I mean, this progress is incredible, isn't it? You know, we were laughing about Internet Explorer the other day, which is only what 30 years old or so, isn't it?
Internet Explorer. I remember Netscape exactly. Navigator.
Yes, and hold on, we got familiar sounds that you'll remember as well. I think somewhere, as well as the British phone. Doc remembers that. That probably, did they have that in your first surgery? You'd like to book an appointment with the doctor. Please hold the line.
I can't remember, to be honest. What I do remember is that horrible sound of a modem connecting and.
It's right there.
That's the one.
That's the one. How about that? Lovely memories, and my goodness, the pace of progress now. All right,
and you know, people are rightly cautious of the power of AI, and it may be, you know, we all remember Terminator and the construct behind that story. Some of you might have watched Altered Carbon, and there are others similarly, all of which are based on sort of the rise of the machines. And we are right to be cautious, but it doesn't have to end like that. When the car was first invented, no, the train was first invented, people were frightened that they would just die when they went over 26 miles an hour or something. Yeah. Funnily enough, now you can go at 260 miles an hour without dying. But the thing is, you know, trains without controls, cars without controls are dangerous. AI without controls will be dangerous.
You see, I think people in some way were right. It's not a physical death you experience when the train goes over 20 miles an hour. It's a spiritual death, isn't it? This is the death you need to watch out for. Is a spiritual death, not the physical one. With all of your modern inventions, so be careful, people. All right, we've got lots to deal with here, Doc, and there may well even be one or two Ask Anything About Portugal questions, as it's asking. Do you remember we used to do this, didn't we? And we keep trying.
Well, I'm happy to answer questions about Portugal, but we rarely get any these days.
It's so true. Well, there is the big question that's still hanging in the air that's come from the other side of the Atlantic. Is there running water? We will come back to that, and we can prove that there is. Actually, I don't know if we can prove it, because actually the water I've got in front of me has come through a filter, but it was running at some point in its life. Okay, and we still have the mystery of when Portugal was born. I think we've had some information coming in on that as well. And we've got some great news from Baddy too, which is fantastic, which we'll come to as well. But let me just try and get the ducks in a row here, because there's information coming in from every angle and orifice this morning. And, oh, yeah, we got to the Calzada outside Gilchrist Place, didn't we? And I usually take a nap, says Francis. He's a young man who likes napping. Once saw a study that said the likelihood of heart disease is lowered by taking regular naps, and I completely owned it. That's right. That's what he tells his wife. I'm generally unconscious when I nap, which is only once every 24 hours. So the slug, banana slug, not into the napping, just the conventional sleep time. I heard that humans, says Darren, are designed to sleep twice a day. And I'm sticking to that fact. So he's a young napper right there.
I think we can learn a lot from cats.
And dogs, right? They are often in a state of sleep.
Yeah, but cats can sleep 23 hours a day. I mean, they really can.
That is just
and I think the reason for the benefits is probably to do with the lowering of the heart rate and blood pressure when you nap.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose part of the problem here is we live in this kind of hyper-productive mindset, don't we? That if you're not doing something, you're not useful. And that is so untrue, isn't it, as cats and dogs?
I think it is such a destructive mindset.
Yeah.
I see people who've worked for 30, 40 years. They retire, whether it's early or on time, quote unquote. And they say, "Oh, I don't know why I'm alive. I have no reason to exist. I have no purpose in life."
Yikes.
Listen, you know, if you're fortunate enough to have a well, if you haven't, you're probably not retired. If you're fortunate enough to have a pension, it means you have worked quite hard during your life. You have earned enough to be able to put some aside, and you should now be able to enjoy it. This is enjoyment that you forego when you're putting money aside for a pension, and you should go out and explore and enjoy and have fun. You do not have to have a purpose. If you want a purpose, you can find one. There's lots of voluntary community cultural stuff you can get involved in, but you don't have to be doing something all the time.
And it doesn't have to be either or as well, Doc, does it? Because, you know, the wonderful thing about people who love what they do and are busy all day doing it is when they're more like cats or dogs. You know, like when a cat is hunting or a dog is fetching a ball, they are completely in that, aren't they? And isn't it lovely to see a human being who works like that, who is full of the joy and the love of what they do, like the dog fetching a ball, which is an absolutely beautiful thing to see in a human being. But what we've done, I think, is we've brought all these sort of work ethics and judgments into it, haven't we? Where people don't feel good unless they're busy all the damn time. And I think I got nothing wrong with. I see nothing wrong with people enjoying their lives to the full. And I heard a woman last weekend talking about how she loves to go. I think the expression she used was she loves to go to bed knackered. And that is a great feeling, isn't it? That you've given your all day long, but the motivation and the intention's really important as well. You know, did you go all out because you just love life, or did you go all out because of the voices in your head telling you you're a bad person if you didn't? You know, and that's what happens, isn't it? That's what can happen in our culture, for sure.
You go through life at work, having to decide to love what you do, because probably, unless you're fortunate, because most people don't get to do what they love. Most people end up doing stuff that they, you know, the way they can earn a living or what they're told to do. And so in order to be happy, they have to learn to love what they do. But when you're retired, you can do what you love, and that's what you should do.
You can get in your car and drive to a shop and buy cake any time of the day. Do you know what? When you're retired, you can watch Netflix during the day.
Which is what I do a lot of.
You don't have to wait up until 11 o'clock at night and squeeze it in before going to bed. You can watch, like Doc, you can watch Netflix at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
He's such a lush. All right, that was judgmental. I'm sorry. I've made a lovely Braga video too, says Darren. Okay, that's in the post to us. Fantastic. Oh, here's another highlight in Portugal today. Happy birthday, Portugal. It's Naked Painting Day at the Quinta today. That's the way.
Whoa.
Just have a shower afterwards. And if you're troubled by such things, or if you're riding by on a horse, the horses might get disturbed by such behavior. Be careful if you're an equestrian in the Fundão area this morning, and probably this. Oh no, it'll be too hot later on today, won't it? And put some sunscreen on it, Pete, because if you're naked painting today, it can get a little bit, well, tangy. Okay, Barry, Bon dia alegria. Look at this. Yes. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong jingle. We haven't got a phone call.
Hey.
Here we go. Yes. It's Escritura Day, 14 months and 1 day after, but also my birthday. So happy birthday to you, buddy. Have a great day, folks. Happy birthday, Portugal. Happy birthday, buddy. And good luck with that Escritura signing. Hopefully all goes well with that. Everything crossed for you. Do keep us. Drop me a line, buddy, if that all happens today and goes well, and that you can celebrate your birthday in style.
Did you hear Hank and Connie signed theirs yesterday?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. Up there in Porto. Okay, well done, you two. I'm sure we'll see them maybe tomorrow evening on the Expats Portugal webinar. We are, if you want to come and talk to us on the Expats Portugal webinar tomorrow night about being newly arrived here in Portugal, you'd be most welcome. And the Dream Team at 9, of course, as well.
My memory's not that good. I've been here so long, I can't remember what it is to be newly arrived.
All right, I'll just give you a quick reminder. You are in Portugal, Doc, okay?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday, Portugal. It's Ask Anything About Portugal.
I mean, I can't remember what it felt like to be newly arrived in the middle of lockdown.
Well, those seem like very different times. Talking about the pace of progress, my goodness. So Suze needs a nap now, still sleep deprived. Parabéns. Have a wonderful day to Buddy from Pete there, and happy birthday, Buddy, from Suze as well. Yeah, take it easy, Suze. See you later on. Don't be so... thank you for Mrs. M. Thank you. Don't be so Algarvist, Carl. It was only a joke, but I think I might have upset a few Algarvians there. But we'll be going there on our tour of the country, towns, cities, locations of Portugal from September, every second weekend of the month. And we will be in Algarve, east and west, thinking of Portimao for one and Tavira for the other. The sun is certainly out here for you, Buddy, and we will be thinking of you whilst we whitewash a wall in the buff today. There are times when I say send photos. I'm not sure whether I should. Don't forget your factor 50. Yeah, exactly, Pete. But put some sunscreen on your aubergine, which nearly rhymes. Or eggplant, which doesn't rhyme. Looking forward to San Martino de Porto meetup later, says Suze. And Neil Diamond, what's this? Holy, way too easy and annoying. What's that? Slipping the songs in here this morning. Nicely done there, James. And birthday wishes from Antonio to Buddy as well. Okay. News just in. Pete found XXX large dog bags the size of pedal bin liners. That's for picking up after the Great Dane. Please do that. It's the right thing to do as a dog owner. And bon dia from Sarah, who's here as well. Oh, and look, controversy, Doc. I think the dates are wrong. I think Portugal started on the... so we've got May, we've got July, we've got October that Mrs. M's written down. Come on, please, somebody help us out with this. Right, a quick question then for you, given that you've been so good to be enough to be here, Doc. Can anyone tell me if Portugal has running water like in the United States? And the answers are coming in on Expats in Portugal Q&A. The first one, a classic. Jess is in as well. Look, good morning to you, Jess. No, only walking water, not running water. Everything is slower. We don't drink water in Portugal. We just drink wine. Water is for suckers. Once you've bathed in Vinho Verde, you'll never go back. I wouldn't put it past you, the wolf of Leiria, to have done that on a particularly successful day. Uncork the bubbly. We're bathing in Vinho Verde. I've had a good day on Forex today.
I'm saying nothing. I plead the fifth.
All right, well, no, but they have running wine. Water faucets come with white and red tabs. There you go. White for white wine, red for red. You won't be disappointed. And the most inconvenient part of living in Portugal is getting used to using... I can't see what it says. What does it say there? Getting used to using communal outhouses. Flush indoor toilets are hard to find. That's someone being rascally there, isn't it? And not helping this person whose name has been blanked out, fortunately, I think. I mean, can you believe that people ask questions like this on social media?
Yeah, that must come off Quora or something. I see some ridiculously inane questions on Quora.
Yes. Do you dignify them with a response generally, or do you just scroll past?
If I'm feeling particularly sarcastic, I shall give them an appropriate response.
I can imagine that, actually. Yeah, I mean, we all have our ups and downs and our moods during the day, don't we? And if you catch the doc wrong on Quora, I'm sure you're in for an erudite put down there. Okay, happy birthday, Portugal, whenever it is. I mean, mate, at this rate, we can probably celebrate Portugal's birthday every day.
Why not?
Back to working in the city. Within 2 weeks, the trains are on strike. Oh, he's having a bad time back in Blyth. I think at least I don't have to get the tube. Don't say things like that, because suddenly you might be having to get the tube as a replacement there, Chris. But all the best to you and Rima as well, of course. Send our love to Rima. Recently found out that bon dia doesn't mean good day. Oh. Why is he? Why?
It certainly does.
Literally, it does. Wonder what Darren is getting at there. Okay. And Antonio telling Celine H that the date King Afonso Henriques declared himself king, but it was only in 1143 that the Kingdom of Leon recognized Portugal as an independent nation. And that's the moment you're referring to. And more Spanish-Portuguese fun to come when Bobby O'Reilly joined us at 9:30 this morning. We're way past 8:30. Sarah is here. Sarah Hedrick, bon dia from Leiria, which has a nice ring to it. You're in good company.
Oh, another one from Leiria. Sarah, hi. You should text me or message me or something in the forum.
There you go. So
we're in Leiria as well.
When Gumpers meet up, it's quite the custom for the local Gumper to buy the incoming Gumper lunch. You're both there. What do? Do you share the bill maybe on that one? Or maybe the doc might be open to paying for you if he's had a good day on Forex. If he hasn't, then you're paying, Sarah.
Yep.
Joao F, good morning, everybody. How are you, Joao F? Good to have you here. And I've always got to check Pete's comments before I read them. I expect photographic evidence that you are all carrying your towel all day tomorrow. Oh, this is for this. Why are we all going to a nudist camp or something? Douglas Adams' inspiration is what is badly needed in these troubling times. Or is that to Chris, who carries a towel when he's on public transport? He's so darn posh. Carl, that octopus sculpture is located in a roundabout in Cartera. Let's bring it back onto the screen. Have you seen this one? Have you spent much time down in the Algarve, Doc?
I haven't been down to the Algarve for a couple of years. I used to spend a lot of time down there. I haven't seen that.
Right, the Electric Octopus, which sounds like a Stanley Kubrick movie, doesn't it? That's there in Cartera, everybody. Thank you very much for putting us straight on that, Antonio. And as we make our way to 9:30 and welcoming Bobby, a few more comments to squeeze in this morning, and questions, of course. Ask anything about Portugal. You can ask the doc and Bobby any questions about Portugal. And we'll talk to Bobby because he has a little bit of an affection for Benfica. We'll ask how he got to choose his football team, which is something you should do, I think, when you come to Portugal. Would you agree, Doc? You've chosen Leiria, presumably.
Yeah, I've chosen Leiria. It's a bit difficult not to when we can hear every match, even with the windows closed, because we're almost the closest apartment to the stadium.
Oh, really? Right. And how are they doing this year, or how have they done? Because we're getting
they've done well. They won the I think they won the promotion playoffs. To be fair, I haven't actually looked online to confirm that, but I'm fairly sure they've been promoted to the second division now.
Oh, so they won't be facing Benfica next year then. Hola from El Puerto de Santa Maria. Good morning to you, Alan Donovan. Spain speaks here. Que tal, amigo? From the Stu Warren fan club there. Lol. Good morning, Alan. How are you? Sarah, so glad to hear about Doug. Let's decide he's our brother today and all send good wishes to him. Yeah, absolutely. Brother Doug, which sounds like a monk when we call him that, doesn't he? But he's doing well. He's repairing nicely, healing well. Bon dia, Doc. Long time no see. So much to discuss. Oh, we did that one. Has he put that in again? I think we've already done these comments, haven't we? I'm on a train late for work because the train was late. Yes.
Yeah, we've done all that.
Yes, because we were talking about your trading and people interested to discover that that's what you do. Okay, so first, Dom Afonso Henriques was proclaimed King of Portugal 1139 by the people. Then, in the 5th of October 1143, the Treaty of Zamora Kingdom of Leon recognizes Dom Afonso. I still don't think they're agreeing on these dates here. And then 1179, the Pope steps in to recognize Portugal as a kingdom as well. So Mrs. M's got a number of dates to choose. Maybe she needs to do...
Well, it's interesting because the Pope recognizing somewhere as a kingdom was probably equivalent to today's the UN recognizing somewhere as an independent state.
Would you care to expand on that? What do you mean?
Well, yeah, okay. So I suspect the UN had potentially more democratic power mandate to recognize a nation state, but the Pope was looked up to across the whole of Europe as the kind of fount of all spiritual authority, and of course spiritual authority trounced every other kind of authority back in those days, and so
it doesn't anymore, Doc.
No, and quite rightly so when you look at some of the goings on in the Vatican and various dioceses around the world, including Leiria. Okay. But at the time, everyone looked up to the church, and if the church recognised the kingdom as a kingdom, it was a kingdom, and if the church decided somewhere wasn't a kingdom, then they were fair game to be attacked. Yes. I think the only thing that saved Scotland when Scotland was excommunicated as a kingdom was that it was so far away from anywhere other than England, with whom it was already at war, that no one bothered trying to invade it with the support of the Pope.
The things you learn. It's 9:30, everybody. The things you learn here on the Good Morning Portugal show. We're going to give him a nice big round of applause. And welcome Bobby O'Reilly to the screen now. Morning, Bobby. How are you? Tudo bem?
Bom dia. Good morning.
Hi, Bobby.
How's it, Doc?
All right.
All good?
He's doing okay.
Yeah, good. Everything's good.
He's been up trading. I don't know if you heard this, Bobby, if you were joining us earlier on.
Yeah.
This man, he writes code. He was writing code. He's using artificial intelligence to track the foreign exchange markets. He is now known as the Wolf of Leiria. Would you believe?
Because of course, O Lobo de Leiria is a nice alliteration.
It is Lobo de Leiria. Here he is. So great to see you, Bobby. How's everything going for you? I want a Herdad de Mayo bingo card where I can cross off all those house sales there that are going on south of the river. How's it going for you?
Yeah, good. Sales good, usual. Not so bad. It's just tipping along nicely. I would just say nothing really new to report on Herdad de Mayo, except it's the business as normal. Our website just went live today, although it needs a few corrections on the Dynasty Homes website.
They always do.
Yeah. But also, let me see, new projects. We have a couple of new projects that we're looking into now, that we're looking at. One's about 50 meters from the beach. Can't say where just yet in case someone steals it on me.
Okay. But we are talking around that kind of Almada area. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're looking at about 36 villas there. And we're going to have, hopefully, again, as I said, our Leiria 1 and 2 out in July. So we'll have those coming on stream in the summer.
Okay, well, maybe expect a call from the doc after the show so he can put his earnings from Forex this morning into some property development later on today. Climbing the ladder of investment success, maybe. Fantastic. And Dynasty Homes, then, not something we've heard a lot about when we've talked to you, but that's another arm of your operations, is it?
Yeah, Dynasty Homes is actually our construction. It's our development site. So Dynasty Homes would be basically our SPV, our special purpose vehicle that we use for the construction, for the actual developing.
Okay.
So Herdad de Mayo is being developed by Dynasty Homes, which is our development site.
I see. And is it a name because you were so fond of the 80s TV series that you wanted to have your company named after it? Or is it one of those Portuguese decisions where you got, okay, is it the latter? You got a list and you could pick a name. Right.
Actually, the list of the company's name was Dynasty Avenue, and that's the actual official name, trading as Dynasty Homes.
Well, I'd have picked that as well, I think, if I had a development company. But they do. Yeah. There are some howlers on these lists out there of Portuguese.
Oh, there are. Yeah. I have a friend actually has a company, and it's called Pink Flamingo.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. May I ask what they do? Is it connected in any way with their business activities?
Absolutely not.
Right. Okay. I may not ask, or it's not connected.
No, it's not.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. We're going to talk about football teams. We know you're a big Benfica fan, and you were at the Alvalade Stadium the other day, weren't you? Let's recapture that atmosphere from the stadium the other night, and it was an interesting game. I think marred a little bit by some egginess among the crowd at some point, but let's just go there quickly and just check in with the atmosphere. So that was at 2-1, and it didn't quite end up like that, did it? The other night.
No, 2-2. It was a great game, actually. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting that we have our own little box there, and you would know normally the people that would be around you, you know, because you're there every second week or whatever. But there was a lot of strangers there that particular game, and wearing green and everything. And then when Sporting scored, there was no movement. So there were a lot of Benfica fans in the skies.
Well, that's what happened, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That was, I saw that reported, I think, on Twitter, that a load of fans swapped tickets or sold tickets, so they were all mixed up in the stadium as well. So the atmosphere was pretty dicey from the get-go, wasn't it?
Yeah. And no, like in fairness, there was a couple of idiots, as there is everywhere, sort of throw in a couple of, but we didn't see any of that now at all. Right. There was good banter around where we are, and that's normally where it is. Like, I would just say that there's a lot of them left, I think, just after half time when it was 2-0. They didn't come back, and then of course Benfica came back and got 2-2.
Yes,
and finished the game. But it was a cracking game. The atmosphere was absolutely fantastic.
I bet it was. And on that note, I mean, people who don't go to football, who would like to be part of it, the atmosphere is generally convivial and good fun, is it, in a Portuguese football stadium?
It can be, and it's great. No, it is.
Right. Okay.
It depends. I think it depends where you are. Like, there is areas within the stadium where you have what they call the ultras, and the ultras they're a little bit more flamboyant and a little more sort of into it. I don't even think they're watching the game, to be honest with you, half the time. They're just there to shout and scream, and but that's in both stadiums, you know. Yeah. So you have that in both. Actually, I think every football club has their ultras, you know. Like, anyway, so
it's true, isn't it? I think I saw some pictures of Milan's ultras talking to the team before the team left the pitch. They got some feedback from their hardest in every sense and toughest and most dedicated fans. It's like, you know, they had to be addressed by the ultras before they went back to the dressing room, and it's the same everywhere you go. But you can separate yourself from that, can you? Because we were doing a little bit of a guide to Portuguese football this morning, and you don't have to be caught up in that if you don't want to.
No, not at all. Like, you see, everyone's there with their kids. Like, I bring my kids a lot, and like if I thought it was anyway sort of not safe, I wouldn't go with my kids. But we bring our kids a lot, and to both places. So, and even in Benfica, like, you'll see, it's a lot of families. There is a huge difference between the Sporting and the Benfica stadiums and the atmosphere within the stadiums as well. I think it's because Benfica is so big. It's got like, it must have about 6 million followers, I'd say. I don't know, but it's huge. It's absolutely huge. The stadium's always full. It's whole 62,000 per game at home, and it's practically always full. Where the Sporting Stadium, it'll fill for the big games, but for the not so big games, you know, and depends on, a lot of the games run late, can be sort of even 9 p.m. So you don't get the biggest crowd at some of the Sporting games. That and the fact that they probably didn't do as well as they were supposed to do. If you know, I mean, after winning the league a couple of years ago, they sold a lot of their top players and then basically struggled. So they have a good top 11, but their bench is a bit weak still. So they've a bit of work to do to catch up with Benfica and Porto.
All right,
and now Braga as well.
Say that again. And
now Braga is now third. So you have basically, Benfica should win the league if they beat Santa Clara on Saturday. Porto second, a very close second, and Braga and then Sporting. So Sporting's knocked out of Champions League this year, for next year, where Braga will be in the playoffs. So I'm expecting, like, we'll be at the Benfica game for the last game against Santa Clara, and I'd say it'll be just a massive part.
Yeah. Okay. So you've name checked the 4 main teams there, and we're bringing in Francis, who's the blue and the white. There, everybody means he's a Porto FC fan. So really, the big clubs, if you want to pick one, are Benfica, Sporting, Porto, and Braga. Top 4, right? Is that to choose from?
Well, they're the top 4, but you have a couple of very good. There's actually this season, it's been a very good season. Like, there was a lot of games that were quite close. Before, I think in the past we really only got into it as this season, really, as in like going to all the games. Like, we went to practically every home game, for both teams. But how do you say, beforehand, I think it was just about it was 3 teams at the top basically, and it was just about how much to bet everybody by nearly, you know, that kind of way beforehand. But now that the other teams have really come up, and even like Maritimo, who's from Madeira, gave Sporting the fright of their life there about 2 weeks ago. Held them to basically I think was it 1-0 till the 91st minute, and then of course to us fierce ructions ended up beating them 2-1 on the 94th minute or 95th minute. It was absolutely crazy. And then actually Maritimo got another goal, and then that goal was disallowed, and it was just ructions, if you like, you know. But
that's what you go to matches for, isn't it? That kind of Man United finish there. That's
but it was torture in the sense that Maritimo would be on the bottom of the league, and they got the goal earlier on, so then basically leveled them and stand in front of the goal for the rest of the game, and it just make it a nightmare every time someone gets touched to go down like they're after getting shot, you know, that kind of way. And it was a nightmare. And actually, I left 5 minutes before. I left. I was on the way out when they scored the first goal. Scored the first goal, because it was just torturous to watch when they get a game like that. It's just torture, to be honest.
Right, okay. But you're expecting fun against Santa Clara, are they called?
Santa Clara, yeah, on Saturday, yeah, 6 o'clock kickoff.
Okay, well that'll be good fun to watch. Obviously at the ground, but also in cafes all around Portugal. That's a really good way into it. You go to your local cafe, and Benfica. Not Benfica Sporting, but Benfica sports clubs all around the country as well, where you can watch other Benfica fans all around the country. Need to ask you, Doc, as a wheelchair user, what's it like getting in and out of football grounds in Portugal? Have they made concessions and made it easier for people in wheelchairs?
So, Leiria has a number of wheelchair spaces right down on the front row near the centre line, but accessing them physically is okay. Yeah. But actually, negotiating the booking processes, which are not the same as normal fans trying to get tickets, are really difficult. So, although potentially it's fantastic, the organisation of it, as in much of things you find, could be improved. I have been inside the stadium on a number of occasions because it was used for COVID vaccinations and testing, and so I've been in a lot of the hospitality areas that were used for that. But I haven't actually managed to watch a game yet from within the stadium.
I wonder what happened. So it's fine getting in and out of the ground, but it's just a nightmare buying a ticket for you by the sound of it. Yeah. And I wonder, I mean, do you get parked up? Do you remember the blue buggy days of British football, where people with the disabled little vehicles were on the sideline? You know, like they're almost part of the game, almost parked up on the edge there. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. It's kind of dangerous as well, I would have thought.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we're just they just have the part of the front row of seats is given over to wheelchair spaces. Fantastic.
Well, let us know how that goes. You're following Leiria. If anyone wants some help on choosing a team, we've got Benfica fan Bobby O'Reilly, got Leiria fan Doc. I'm sure Francis would urge you to choose Porto if you're going up to the north. You're right, Doc, says Antonio F. Leiria was the champion of Liga 3 football and promoted to Liga 2, the second division. Excellent. And what's this? The Feria de Livro, the book fair of Lisbon, will close early next Saturday at 5 o'clock because of the possible football championships. All the bookworms are going to be proper peed off about that, aren't they? That the football fans are dominating their special day. Celebrations that day in the Praça Marques de Pombal in Lisbon. So is that what's going to happen, Bobby? All the Benfica fans will pour into the Marques de Pombal Praça to celebrate. Yeah,
basically whoever wins, especially in Lisbon, it's always been the Sporting and Benfica clubs would all basically all get to Marques de Pombal. And I actually had a girl used to work with me years ago when Benfica had won the season, and she got shot with a plastic bullet.
Really?
Yeah.
What crowd control?
But she was just walking up the street and some policeman let off a plastic bullet.
Really?
Yeah.
Good heavens. Right, that's a serious football fan scar to carry, isn't it?
Yeah, but she wasn't even at the game. She wasn't even a fan. She just went to see how things were going, you know.
Oh,
but
I see.
It gets a bit rambunctious there as well. So you have a lot of celebrating, a lot of drunk people, a lot of carry on going on, but to be a big police presence as well to make sure that there's no vandalism.
Yes, yeah, they're ready, aren't they?
With
you
the
see them
plastic bullet,
stroking their batons, ready for a little bit of crowd control if necessary. Yeah. I mean, they do that on a Saturday night, don't they? Down by Timeout Market, you see them. You know, it's all lovely. The nice, easygoing atmosphere here in Portugal, and you realise why when you walk around the corner, because there are policemen stroking batons, ready to engage should it go past a certain level. Sporting Lisbon fan Lord Gilchrist, the choice of the landed gentry, it would appear, and because Arsenal never winning is something I'm used to. Okay, so you've transferred your Arsenal allegiances to Sporting. Okay, that's a good way of chatting
season as well, actually.
Okay,
they've had out of the Champions League. I think it was Champions League, yeah.
Yeah, he likes a bit of pain by the sound of it. And of course, if folks are up for the FA Cup final, we may well be meeting in Lisbon on the 3rd of June. So that could be fun. A few chaps getting together. And chaps, whoever wants to come, 3rd of June. Let's turn our attention. If you want some help choosing a football team, obviously ask in the chat. Any other questions about Portugal life? The Doc's here. Bobby O'Reilly's here. Of Dynasty Homes, whose website, I think. What is the website address for that, Bobby?
dynastyhomes.pt.
dynastyhomes.pt. Let's turn our attention now then to your entertainment of some Spanish people. I thought this was a very high-risk strategy. You're entertaining Portuguese friends. It looks like a great time was had by all here, Bobby, and you choose to cook them paella. That is risky, isn't it, Doc? Would you take that risk?
Probably not.
I wasn't allowed cooker. That actually they cooked it.
Oh, okay. And because you've got a seafood allergy, haven't you? So which doesn't help to be too near a paella.
But the thing is that a completely different method. I still believe mine is better. But
oh, I see. But they came in and took over, did they? A bit like back in the day, over the border, right? Okay.
They've had my paellas throughout the years. So they sort of actually that's the first time in 20 years we were all together. But we'd seen each other separately for in between. So it was a great get together, to be honest with you. It was a great weekend. So with a lot of Spanish wine, a lot of Spanish cheese, paella, as you see as well. There was a lot of fun and festivities had for the whole weekend. It was fantastic.
I bet. Sounds great. So do you do a similar thing then? I think you've said here before that when you have anyone coming from Ireland, you get them to bring certain things. Crisps and lamb, I think, were the two things I remember.
Yeah, there's a couple. So basically, they have to book on. It's the fee to stay. If you want to stay, you have to bring a suitcase full of Irish sausages, lamb, and Irish potatoes. We call them potatoes, cheese and onion. So that's it. And maybe a Brennan's batch bread if they can get it as well. So.
All right, that's the bill of fare at Bobby's house when you come. And so the Spaniards, what did you ask us? What was the Iberian transaction?
Oh God, my fridge is completely stuffed mainly with stinky cheese. Cabrales, if you know what Cabrales is it's from the north it's from Asturias. It's the most stinkiest cheese. Once it's opened, you have to eat it quick, you know. Anyway, it stinks the house out. Like it's fantastic.
Right, okay. Before your neighbours complain, right? Okay.
So there was lots of cheeses and different things that you only get in Spain now. You know, kind of sort of that I'd know from Spain. So they brought a lot. Then you had some drinks as well. You had arujo, pacharan, which are all from the north. Pacharan would be similar to our. Actually, it's much stronger, but it's a cherry-based liqueur. Ooh. And arujo is arujo de hierba, which is one you keep in the freezer, and it just basically is like syrup. It's herb liqueur, which is fantastic as well.
Well, no wonder you had a good time. That sounds wonderful. Doc, you're a vegetarian, so presumably you're not asking people to bring you sausages, lamb, and whatever from the UK or
Indeed not, yeah.
What is it? What's it you're missing that people should bring to you if they're visiting?
Well, Leona would say tea bags.
Yes, I've been tea bags just recently.
And what else? I mean, I'm not too fussy. I'm quite happy with what I can get here. But Leona would have tea bags, and I can't remember. Alicia would be some kind of confectionery, but I'm not worried.
Not too bothered about that. Okay. And of course, yes, if you're wanting to ask questions about Portugal, ask about vegan and vegetarian issues with the doc here, who is, I think you have some interest in this new industry, don't you, Doc, with the creation?
Well, I am very, very interested in alternatives to the use of animal protein. So whether that be through plant proteins, lab-grown meat, or which isn't really an alternative, it's just a different way of getting it without the cruelty, etc. And fermentation is the third way of getting alternative proteins. And this is a big growth industry. It's got a huge potential in terms of decarbonising the food industry, and allowing for local production. You can reduce the transportation costs considerably. But we'll have to see how it goes. There's a lot of money going into it at the moment, but there's also quite a lot of kickback from the, as you might imagine, from the meat industry and the dairy industry. Interestingly.
Yeah, I'm sure. Bobby, you raised an eyebrow about fermentation. Do you prefer your fermentation to stop with grapes in bottles, or are there other?
No. As you know, I'm a baker. So
of course, yes.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, fermentation is the art of processing rotten food. So basically, it's true.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah. Everything that's fermented is basically starting to rot, and it's at that process to where you take the flavor out of it and so on. So like, there's actually a great program, I think it's on Netflix as well, about it's called Fermentation, I think, as well, but it's actually quite good. It goes into all the different processes. If you're a foodie, which I am, it goes into all these different ways on different types of fermentation. It's brilliant. It's fantastic.
It is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's all about controlled rotting, really, isn't it? I mean, that's what cheese is. Let's face it. It's yeah, amazing. Okay, thank you very much. We have some, Marmite obviously would come into the equation here. Remember buying Marmite to take out to Carl and Louisa last year, then realizing I couldn't take them onto the plane. I think that's ending soon, isn't it? This liquids thing on planes. Maybe someone could elaborate on that if they know about that. Marmite is fine, but Bovril has to be smuggled. So strong is it? Okay.
No, Bovril's a meat product and Marmite isn't. That's why.
Is that right? Okay, so you probably can't take Bovril into Australia, but then you probably wouldn't anyway because they've got Vegemite over there, haven't they? Arsenal never winning is something I'm used to. Yeah, Arsenal, Francis says, threw it away. Sporting knocked them out of the Europa League. Bobby remembers that one. An insane halfway line goal that Pete also remembers.
In Highbury. It
was really?
A big goal. It was unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah, Naeem from the halfway.
It was like, if you remember the David Beckham goal years ago when he just basically tipped the keeper. Very, very similar.
I do remember that, funnily enough. I don't know a great deal about football, but yes, I do remember that. It's just one of those moments, isn't it? Portuglish, if you're used to not winning, you should pick Sporting, the Braga, same jersey colours, and never won the championship as well, says Antonio F. And finally, cured. Not talking about food here, Portuguese. Now all you need to do is change your allegiance to the only proper team in North London. The banter continues, and Bovril is far superior as far as Pete's concerned. If you like Marmite, just lick the leftovers of a brewer's vat. Okay, thank you. Is that a euphemism or an invitation? Not quite.
No, that's where Marmite came from originally. It was the scrapings of the Guinness vats in Dublin.
Is that right? That's a nice connection, Bobby O'Reilly, I think there. So they thought we might got to do something with this. We'll spread it on bread and see if it catches on. Right, okay. I sent you a picture yesterday, Bobby, of some parfait liver. Did you like the look of that, or is that something?
I couldn't figure out what it was. That's
sometimes food photography is like that, isn't it? Why is Carl sending me a picture of his dog's food?
It was carefully. Really, hey, what's that? I thought actually you meant to send it to someone else. It was a missend.
What, rate my poo or something like that? No, it was sautéed chicken's liver, which I think is one of the. I mean, sorry, Doc, for the moment, but I think that is one of the best value foods, given the cost of living crisis. offal is still alive and well here in Portugal. Is that? Would you agree? And is it something you cook, Bobby?
Absolutely.
Oh, really? So you don't mind a gizzard?
No, I love a bit of offal, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be all kind of food parts and the whole lot. Yeah.
A whole lot. Okay, and that's the responsible way. I guess if you're going to eat meat, eat the whole thing, and that's what Portuguese people do. They don't waste food here in Portugal, which is a fantastic thing. And yeah, everything except the squeak, or including the squeak, I think they say about when it comes to pigs. Okay, so Benfica for you, Bobby. Leiria for the doc. In the last few moments, we can help people choose a football team. Can't get enough of Guinness. Marmite is my favourite. So I think, yeah, any Guinness fan might like Marmite as well. And I remember recalling conversations with you, Bobby. Have we any improvement on where to get a decent pint of Guinness in Portugal, or do we still have to fly to Dubai?
No, I done another demonstration here at the weekend with all my Spanish friends, because they'd all been used to Irish Guinness as well and hadn't touched it since. So we got out our little widget thing, our little thing with plenty of Guinness in stock, and we had our own draft Guinness here in the house, which was fantastic. So,
stuff.
But I still haven't found any very decent here, to be honest with you. Know.
There's a good draft Guinness in Leiria in the Irish pub here.
Bobby thinks not.
I haven't been there, so I can't say it's not.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I went, it was good. I mean, you know, it sometimes depends on how much they've served and what the lines are like.
I tell you what,
whether the management's changed recently, but certainly it was all right when I went.
If you invite Bobby, he will come. So, yeah, okay.
An interesting fact about Guinness in Ireland, for example, the bar is not allowed to clean the Guinness lines. Guinness send their own people to every bar in the country to clean the lines properly, because they don't trust that the guy who owns the bar will do it to their satisfaction. That's every bar without exception.
That makes sense.
That'll tell you the difference.
But they're also scraping all the stuff out to sell as Marmite later on as well. That's the reason, really, why they do it. Okay, so there's a nice little plug there for is it an Irish bar in Leiria?
Yeah, I've just forgotten the name for the moment. We've been there a few times. It's a nice place. It's got a bit of atmosphere.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
There was one in the Algarve, actually. I went with a friend of mine in Villamora. It was an Irish pub as well.
There is I had my birthday there about 5 years ago.
And actually, that was quite good. The Guinness there was we would say it was drinkable, but it was good.
Yeah. A high praise indeed. All right. So any other recommendations of Guinness? Searching for the perfect pint of Guinness here in Portugal. It must be on our list of our discovery weekends around Portugal. Maybe we'll make it a feature. Every place we go to, we'll try and track down a decent pint of Guinness. Pit stop just down the road for me. I did have what I thought was a nice pint of Guinness, but I'm no expert on the matter. Portuguese, talking of offal, I was served chicken gizzards here and it was delicious. I find them a little bit crunchy, I have to say, but good for you, Lord Gilchrist. And it's a beautiful day on Madeira Island. How wonderful. If you expect to hear the local accent, you'll be disappointed as nobody spoke it. Basically, no one would understand the dialogues without legends. Is that you tuning into the show this morning? I'm wondering. Carl, I'm a sporting fan, says Digo. My commiserations. I love an Irish bar, says Darren, who's in Porto. I imagine there's a decent one in Porto. And was it Mulligan's?
Mulligan's, that's the one.
That's the one. So if you go into the Leiria Irish bar, Mulligan's, say you heard about it on the Good Morning Portugal show, and that Doc is getting this one. That'll be fine. Anywhere I can get a good pot of Murphy.
Oh, there's a challenge.
Oh dear.
I doubt it.
Okay.
We'd say even in Ireland that's difficult.
Okay, so stick to the Guinness over here in Portugal.
No, I'm joking. It's a big Cork Dublin thing, you know, because Murphy's is from Cork, as they call it, the real capital and all this kind of stuff. So basically anyone who's into the Murphy's, anyone who's in the south part of Ireland is in the south, there'll be a Murphy's drinker, where the Guinness would be everywhere, Leinster up, basically. So it's basically I don't know, it's a demographic thing more than anything else.
We used to get Murphy's in Birmingham. Yeah, nice.
Exactly. Right, okay. Thank you for being here with me this morning, gentlemen. The launch of the Dynasty Homes website, that's a familiar development on the front there, isn't it? So there is newly relaunched dynastyhomes.pt website there. Take a look at that. And Bobby, I'm sure will tell us the location of these new beautiful beach-fronted dream homes in due course when you return to be with us, Bobby. Have a great day. What are you up to today? Anything interesting?
Oh, I've a lot of stuff on today. I've actually, my next protocol, I have to go to IKEA under orders.
Living the dream. Okay.
Yeah, IKEA now. But no, I actually have a lot on today. A couple of meetings. One's an interview, and then the other one is just general investment meetings.
Well, have a great day, and thanks for joining us. What about you, Doc? Is it time for a nap after all that trading?
I might end up doing the school run, which is later than usual this morning because the Leiria had a couple of free periods, so I'll probably do that. Come back, do a bit of coding, bit of trading, and then some Super Bowl probably.
Living the dream as well. Just looked at the Dynasty site. Well done, Bobby, from Coach Turner in Hertfordshire in the UK. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Have a great day. See you next time. Ciao,
ciao.
Hey guys, take care.
Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye for now. All right, let's have a quick look then at the Dynasty Homes website, shall we? Because I've not seen this yet. Building sustainable homes for future generations, and find out more. So this is more than the Herdad de Mayo here. I think this is many of Bobby's building projects, construction projects that he mentioned to us there. Look at this. Very good. Great stuff. Okay, so we'll take a look for yourself at dynastyhomes.pt there. I want to have a look now. Let's have a quick look at the gallery before we leave this morning and go into the Iberian FM phone-in. And right, I'm trying to click on gallery. Maybe that's one of the things that he said wasn't quite ready yet there. We will come back to that. I'm sure we'll have a look at the dynastyhomes.pt website in due course. But my eye is drawn to swimming pools, smart homes, 2 electric scooters per house. Oh, okay. All right. Before I get carried away there, let's spark up the music for the Iberian FM phone-in and see what's grinding your gears today. We've still got, look, have a wonderful day, fellas. And still the colours coming in for the football teams. Well done finding the emojis here. Benfica fan there and a Porto FC fan there. So thank you for joining us for the Good Morning Portugal show. Let's ease our way into some Iberian FM action, shall we? See what's grinding your gears, what's treading on your melons, whatever. Get it off your chest. A problem shared is a problem halved, perhaps. And what we want to do is ease you back into your zen by sharing. Sharing is caring. Let us know what's upsetting you. Let's talk it through and see if we can get you back into that zone of peace and love, man. Hey, Mrs. M has just walked into the studio and asked me what is the subject this morning of the Iberian FM phone-in. I've no idea, quite frankly. I'll have a look at the headlines and see what's going on. My mind was drawn, or my eye was drawn towards the signing, or a petition against the signing of the WHO Treaty yesterday, which did a little bit of circulation around the Twitterverse yesterday, and with its author, Natasha Don. Funny how the 2 teams make up the Portuguese flag, the red and the green, as you can see here on the screen here. And apparently the residue from the Good Morning Portugal show coming into the Iberian FM phone in Murphy's Sports Bar and Kitchen at the Marina de Vilamora. It knows that well, I think. And Vilamora, that's an ask. Suppose I could visit my mate with a place on the golf course there. Yes, I think, Pete, if you're serious about getting a pint of Murphy's, that sounds like the best place so far, unless we get any other suggestions. I'm sliding your fader up, not a euphemism, Mrs. M, Mrs. You're back in the room. How are you doing? What's been going on in the kitchen?
Yeah, I've mucked up my kefir cheese a few times.
Well, so Bobby was talking about fermentation, funny enough.
Was he?
Yeah, about fermentation is just rotten food, but it's the controlled treatment of rotting food, isn't it?
But I've managed to save it, which is great. But I've been fermenting myself, so the whole
you've been fermenting yourself.
No, I haven't been fermenting I've been fermenting in my emotions. And
I see. You're drawing an analogy, like I like as within, so without, as above, so below.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, and how's it going?
Well, I think it's good to not do that. It's good to observe that's what's going on, and I don't want to spend the rest of my day doing that.
What, spooning out old rotten cheese from a jar, sort of thing? Well, who would, quite frankly?
Well, like mixing it up wrong and making wrong conclusions.
Stewing in your own juices, as Lord Gilchrist is putting it. Oh, I better spark up the phone then, if this is indeed a phone in. I want to ask you though, before we move on from fermentation, sourdough, these sorts of things. It's a different matter, isn't it? When you're in Portugal, you found that
Oh yeah, it's totally
we do have this continuous theme of black mold, don't we? That people dread and fear, and how to deal with it. This is something.
Well, the funny thing is, I've not been able to ferment very well in thanks, Pete, for that comment. Luis's own fermentation.
He wants to know where to buy it.
Cheese?
Can I get it online?
The funny thing is, I did think back in the day of fermenting my breast milk.
Right.
But I never did it. And I have heard of people. There's loads of comments coming in now.
It's all a matter of timing.
Yes, I have heard of women that have made bread from their own yeast, which I've never done and will never do.
Right, okay. And that's why people don't come to dinner at our house.
Yeah, that's why. Just because
they fear you might.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd never do that. I don't think that's...
For the record?
Yeah, just for the record. And I'm very clean, just so you know.
Okay.
But anyway...
and you can be too clean. That's the point, isn't it? I think that we live in... when you're in UK, I think things such as sourdough fermentation, though mothers, as they're called,
yes,
stand a better chance, don't they? Because they're not up against these climatic features, the extremes that we have of mold spores in the air here in Portugal, and extremes of temperature.
Yeah. So like in the UK, the temperature does seem to stay fairly stable. So, you might, the temperature might go from like 1 to 20 degrees, whereas in Portugal, you've got a temperature differential between 1 and 44 degrees tops, probably. And the damp just, rises and disappears, in a way that it just doesn't in the UK. It's a lot more constant. And so what I found is, when I've been fermenting, it's just gone really kind of pear-shaped. I've thrown out so much, but at the moment I've got a really, really good milk kefir grains. Which
benefits of which are?
Well, just like loads of different types of acids and yeasts and bacteria.
And so in the way that people are now, the way that the dairy industry, and I use the term loosely, like yogurt makers have got into the whole friendly bacteria thing, which is a masterstroke of marketing.
To be fair, I mean, a lot of those, it's a masterstroke of marketing, because most of those probiotics you buy in the shop are done with pasteurized milk,
and
doesn't
there's
have
so
the natural
little
fat.
Concentration in them, presumably.
Yeah.
But I mean, placebo, maybe.
Well, who knows? But this is all done naturally with preferably unpasteurized milk, full fat milk.
And you are getting what they would call friendly bacteria probiotic.
It appears. I mean, I'm not checking under a microscope, so I can't verify that. I can't verify that. Right. I was growing kombucha quite a lot, but I haven't found a strain here that's worked and stayed that I've really liked the taste of.
Isn't that amazing?
But I mean, in the UK, I had kombucha for years. For about five years.
You can buy kombucha here, can't you? Gavin's, I think you can get from time to time.
And water kefir, I had, but then it got like cross fermented with the kombucha, so it started getting long stringy bits.
Oh my word!
And that's when it's like, okay, something's not quite right there.
Okay,
tossed a lot of them.
So the homesteading plans of fermentation are a little bit more challenging here in Portugal.
Yeah, I mean, I used to make I mean, I was in awe actually of who was it that was showing his pickles last week?
For some reason, I can't remember.
Jason, was it Jason?
Oh yes, of course, yes,
Jason and his missus. You know, and
they had a
beautiful
fantastic array,
pickles.
didn't they, of fermentations? Yeah, absolutely.
And in the UK, I used to do what's it called? Kimchi. I used to make a lot of kimchi and a lot of sauerkraut.
Yeah.
And here I've not been able to get the sweet spot right. I mean, to be fair, back then it was with one child, and now it's with 3 children and 2 businesses. So, and dogs and whatnot.
And the climate as well.
And the climate. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, this has fast turned into a fermentation special. We are going to go back to Portugal's birthday, okay? But I still haven't been able to find out for you exactly when the official birthday is. We've got 3 dates, I think. We've got a May, an October, and I think there was a July in there somewhere, and the Pope got involved at some point too. So it's got more confusing than less.
It's a bit like relationships. I mean, because essentially,
when does it really start?
Yeah, when does the relationship start?
Yes.
I mean, people ask me
first
about
second base.
Well, people ask me about that with astrology. You know, and like meeting people. I think the first time you meet someone, if you've got a really good chart, and then you know you continue, like each step of the way of your relationship, you need an even better chart to occur.
Oh, right. Okay.
So yeah, I think looking for good charts is really good. And a lot of countries, you know, they'll be picking their times astrologically, you know, like the royals and whatnot.
Oh, those in the know.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of politicians do have their own pet astrologer, don't they? Not that they
pet astrologer.
Not that they, well, like, you know, like you have a pet mechanic or a pet dentist.
I mean, I've offered my services to like organizations. No, not to Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
But to sort of high level influencing organizations.
And you can't say whether or not they have taken you up, because that would be a breach of confidentiality.
But I'm going to say they didn't take me up because they already had a team of 6 astrologers, which was interesting.
You're too late, honey. You're 6 astrologers.
Yeah, they had a team of 6 astrologers, and I was really quite surprised by that.
Okay.
But actually, they're not surprised. I was quietly affirmed by it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's a matter of note, isn't it? In Elizabeth, the film Queen Elizabeth, is it, with Gwyneth Paltrow? She has John Deeds, doesn't she, featured, who was an astrologer and one of her close advisors.
Was it Gwyneth Paltrow?
Or Kate Blanchett?
It was Kate Blanchett.
It was Kate Blanchett, Catherine Blanchett in that. Okay, with John Deeds. Okay, we'll come back to Portugal's birthday. Then I just want to conclude on the fermentation side. Who knew that so many people would be interested in fermentation and rotten food here? I'm a huge fan of fermentation, says Francis. Dabbled in some, realised some of our favourite things wouldn't be possible without fermentation. Of course, coffee, beer, wine, and even life itself is better with fermentation, unless it's athlete's foot, of course.
That's a really good point. I mean, I made all the booze for your 50th birthday, didn't I?
You did, out of dandelions?
Yeah, I made dandelion
nettles?
beer, I made
nettles?
nettle beer, and I made elderflower bubbly.
And coffee beans are fermented,
or
passed through a goat or something like that.
Well,
sorry, can I carry on with the birthday beers a minute? Because that was amazing, wasn't it? What you created.
Yeah, and one of them, I think it was the dandelion beer. I actually ended up making a kind of liqueur with it as well. And we also had those strawberry trees. We had
Madronia.
Yeah, did we? Was it a Madronia? Yeah, it was a Madronia.
It's a Madronia, yeah.
So we had a Madronia tree in the UK, and it was really, really mature. And I made a liqueur from that, not knowing that we were going to come and live in Portugal.
Which, of course, is called, what's it called here? The Madronia liqueur. Somebody will tell us.
I can't remember.
Too much beer can give men a yeast infection.
Yes, you can get an itchy bum, itchy scrotal sac, all sorts of things.
Okay, and it's not only the beer that's cloudy. Please don't ferment the breast milk. Reminds me of my worst meal ever, says Pete. Placenta pate and breast milk coffee. Could you not tell from the smug smiles on the faces of your hosts as they were serving these things?
See, Pete, that's really unfair. I mean, I did use all 3 of my placentas, but not to make pate and not to feed it out to people, but to give it back to myself.
However, Pete, if you're missing that special evening and you've got a taste for it, oh no, he's not happy about it. The 3 vomiting emojis are a bit of a giveaway, aren't they? Only told about after consuming.
I think that's unfair.
That is like sneaking sausage into a vegetarian meal, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's not right. Not right.
It's like hiding cauliflower under mashed potato.
Yeah, well, that's
which is what my mum used to do.
That's all right. My sister had a basement flat so damp it had mushrooms growing out of the walls. Well, what did they taste like? Were they nice with a little bit of butter and salt and pepper?
Yeah, I wonder if she had any lung issues.
Yeah, that sounds proper.
That doesn't sound good.
We never throw our old milk now. We never throw out our old milk now. We either add slices of fruit for 24 hours for yogurt, or boil it up and add a vinegar and salt for a soft cheese. Way to go.
That's really great. I didn't know that you could just add slices of fruit in old milk for 24 hours. Can you send me a private message on that? I want to test that out.
Cheers,
boil. Hang on. Go back.
Go back.
Boil.
Back up that fermenting truck.
Add vinegar and salt for soft cheese. The way's good too. It's funny because at the moment I'm straining my kefir from yesterday. So I'm actually separating the whey from the curds, and I was going to add in some salt, pepper, some smoked mackerel, and make a nice soft cheese dip.
Sounds
but
great.
What do you use your whey for? I mean, do you add it into things like ketchup and mayonnaise to increase the probiotic goodness of it, or I wonder.
Okay, well, thank you as well, Lord Gilchrist, Pete, and others, and James, who've sent in pictures that I didn't see in time. We'll carry those forward to the show tomorrow, where we'll have Heather joining us from Boots on the Ground, Portugal. So that's great, Si. Thank you very much for that. Thank the Almighty for UHT. Now, that's the problem. It takes some getting used to, the horrid taste of UHT in milk here in Portugal. But thankfully, we found a live milk, haven't we, that is now sold in the supermarket.
Yes, we've got a really lovely unpasteurized full-fat milk. That
you might as well use milk powder if you're using UHT. There's nothing good in that, is there, except the colour and texture it brings to tea. There's nothing useful in UHT,
I wouldn't say that, just because that's kind of making people that use it wrong, and I don't think that's...
Well, they are, aren't they?
No,
only kidding.
That's their choice.
That is your choice.
There's choice. And you know what, Portuguese? I understand why you say that, because since we've been using live unpasteurized milk, boy, does it go off quick. You've got to use it. So, I mean, it's taken me back 30 plus years, living in the UK, growing up at my mum and dad's. And, it's a bit like the avocados. You've got to eat them at the right time or else it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. What I'm getting at, though, is I'm not wanting to make anybody wrong. That is not my style.
It's not, is it?
But what are you missing? That's the thing. What might be missing?
Well, there might be essential fats and things like that.
Yeah, and it's not a lot. I mean, by definition, ultra heat treated means there's not much living in it after that process. That's the whole point, isn't it? It's ultra heat treated to kill things that might go off.
That'll be what he says is the point of it.
Because it lasts longer.
Yeah, because there's nothing
not a health benefit.
Well, I don't know. People might see, knowing that their milk has nothing growing in it.
What happened to you? You used to be so much more controversial than this.
I did, yeah.
Right? Was it that bust up this morning with Will Thompson?
Well, I have to say I'm still feeling a bit riled.
Are you?
Yeah, I really am. But I've deleted what I put on your timeline.
Very good.
Because actually, the way it was posted onto your timeline unceremoniously like that.
Yeah.
Like a big accusation that sounds like it's completely justified, and he's got all the evidence to back up all of the accusations he's making against you. It sounds demented. I don't want to engage in that kind of energy with him.
Just in case you're wondering, Will Thompson is alive and well. We haven't heard from him from a little while, but I did on my timeline this morning. Thank the Almighty for UHT. Then full fat's the best. Yay!
You are
curvy milk.
You are so kind to people that bite the hand.
It's not about kindness, though. I just, I was in fact, it's a bit of mischief. If I'm honest.
Well, to be fair, it doesn't make me feel safe, because the kind of vile, the
vile bile.
Yeah, the vile bile attached to that kind of energy is it doesn't make me feel very safe.
That's what you don't want to ferment. You don't want vile bile
and
fermenting.
that is what
it sounds like he's been fermenting for quite a long time.
Yes, and he's off-gassing on your timeline.
And he blew his top this morning. Couldn't hold it in any longer.
But
fermentation metaphors all the way here. Vivian, I have a jug of kombucha about ready to drink. She's not said anything so far as I'm aware this morning, but couldn't hold it back any longer because the kefir is bubbling away, and that's going to be wonderful, isn't it? The jug of kombucha about ready to drink, and the kefir is bubbling away.
That's the water kefir as well. Yeah,
isn't that lovely? Okay, kimchi. What a lovely source of fermentation there. as mentioned by Bobby earlier on. I eat kimchi to get my fermented
we
foods
really
in.
enjoyed when we were in the UK was the kimchi omelets.
Kimchi-mini.
Do you remember when we went to that Japanese restaurant in Sheffield?
Yes, in Sheffield.
And we had kimchi omelets. They were really like kimchi pancakes, maybe. So if you've got like kimchi, or you can do it with sauerkraut as well, put in some extra herbs and whatnot, and just pop an egg around it, and then some flour, get a little bit of batter, and give it a nice warm. So it's really good to use with kimchi that's just gone past its turning point, you know.
Yes.
And you can always take off some of the kimchi juice and make a little hot chili mayonnaise or something to.
You say like engine cleaner. Right. Do you know today is International Aircraft Maintenance Technician Day?
No.
Of course I did. I woke up celebrating the fact this morning, Anthony. Thank you for that. Foraging is big up here in the north, says Vivian. That maybe we could tie in as well.
What are you foraging for?
Yeah, that sounded like a big philosophical question. You just meant like what, mushrooms or leaves or whatever. Malosa is the Madronia liqueur that you made, strawberry tree liqueur.
Well, I made by accident.
And that's what it sounded like to me as well, Pete. Nice to hear Louisa straining in the morning. Tastes like dishwater over refined, and this is the UHT he's talking about here. You gotta live and enjoy life as well as fighting in the matrix. A balanced life there. Well done, sci-fi. Ooh, trolling from Will. It's sad to see. Hope you guys treat it with the respect it deserves. Completely. I'm afraid not, Pete. I didn't. You have done a great deal to help, but people can only help themselves.
Oh, thank you so much, Pete.
Cheers, Pete. Love that song, Mariah Carey song, Kimchi Dibbidi Dibbidi Doubt You. I don't know that one, but I was going with Kim Chimney.
Yeah.
Where's that from? Is that from Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Can you imagine Mary Poppins, the fermenting movie, where as well as being an amazing nanny, she can ferment all
yeast
sorts of...
underneath her breast or something?
No, that's not what I was thinking. Let's go back and tell the story then of Portugal's birthday, all right, as we finish today on the Iberian FM phone. And the phone lines are open. Do you know, there's going to be a time where you can't get through. Which is the complete opposite of what is happening right now, everybody. 913-590-303. Do you know, there's going to be a moment where we're going to have that phone call and we're going to say, what's this?
What's that?
What is that? Oh, it's the Iberian FM phone. That doesn't normally happen.
Oh, I haven't heard a phone ring like that for ages.
Incredible. Right.
It reminds me of being at my nan's house.
What does this button do? Who is that on the line?
It's Will.
That's good, isn't it?
That's scary.
Wow, okay. All right, let's go back to Good Morning Portugal. And, well, not Good Morning Portugal, but Happy Birthday, Portugal. Portugal is 844 years old today, says Antonio Barbosa. Congratulations, Portugal. Parabéns. Parabéns, Portugal. The Manifestus Probatum.
Ooh, that sounds rude.
It does, doesn't it? Was the document issued by Pope Alexander III on May the 23rd, 1179. This declared the territory as an independent kingdom. Now, again, that's an external validation, not an internal one by the sound of it, which is also important, I think.
So it's talking about the state of Portugal, you know, like as
you're free to go, like on your way, Portugal.
But it doesn't account for the fact that loads of people wouldn't have even known that they were under the rule of people. They'd have just been blindly getting on with their lives and having a great time.
As most people do, right?
Hopefully,
most people are getting on with their lives, and the less aware you are of politicians and their machinations, probably the happier you are.
Yes, I would say so.
Which might have been what was going on in 1179. I mean, how long would it have taken that news to get through to somebody in 1179? Roll the clock forward to 1183, and somebody brings you a storyteller who sings a song about that time. It's a little ditty called Manifest Probatum about when the Pope Alexander III granted independence to Portugal. Oh, I didn't know it had happened. This is 4 years later.
Oh, that's a shock.
That's nice. Hasn't it already changed again, though, since he did that? In addition to making Portugal's sovereignty official, it was also on this day that the Catholic Church legitimized Dom Afonso Henriques as king. So another external validation, not something he did himself. Portugal thus became the Portucalense county, one of the oldest countries in Europe and independent from the Kingdom of Leon and Castile. At a time when the Catholic Church assumed the role of the vanguard of knowledge, guardian of civilization and supreme authority over the kingdom of men. That's quite a claim, isn't it? Despite the Treaty of Zamora of 1143, Papal recognition was essential to legitimize royal power, and as such, recognition of its sovereignty for the rest of Christianity.
Do you know what? I don't remember electing any of these officials to.
Are you suggesting they are in some way undemocratic? It should be noted, however, that this recognition was due to the fact that Portugal proved that it deserved it widely and not by way of grace, largely owing to the struggle for the reconquest and victories against the enemies of Portugal and Christianity. The national flag, then, let's move into that and decode the national flag of Portugal, which I'm going to edit this little segment because let's hear about the derivation, if flags could have etymology, this is it. After the establishment of the Republic, a constitution decree by the National Assembly, dated fast forward now to June 19th, 1911, approved a new national flag that replaced the previous one. The national flag is divided vertically into two colours, Benfica and Sporting Lisbon, dark green and red, with green on the side of the hoist or mast. Oh, okay. So when you're hanging your Portuguese flag, make sure you get the green over on the side of the mast. In the centre, superimposed on the union of colours, has the national coat of arms bordered in white on the armillary sphere. Who doesn't like an armillary sphere first thing in the morning? In yellow and revived in black. The length of a flag is 1.5 times the height of the hoist. Okay, sounds like a lateral thinking. I'm going to ask you a question in a minute about this. If the length of the flag is 1.5 times the height of the hoist, the division between the two fundamental colours is made 2/5 of the total length, occupied by green, and maintaining 3/5 by red. The emblem occupies half the height, being equidistant from the upper and lower edges. They didn't just throw this together, you know. Thus, in the opinion of the commission responsible for the national flag, the CRNF, white represents a beautiful fraternal colour in which all the others merge, colour of simplicity, harmony, and peace. And under it, sprinkled by corners of the first hard battles for the Portuguese nationality, are wounded, then it is the same white colour that, fueled by enthusiasm and faith by the Red Cross of Christ, marks the epic cycle of our maritime discoveries.
Yikes.
You can still hear you coughing, you know. Have you got something fermented stuck in your throat?
Who knows?
All right, where do we get to?
Red.
Red should appear in it as one of the fundamental colours because it is the combative, hot, virile colour par excellence. It is, yes, this is certainly the language of colour, isn't it? It is the colour of conquest and laughter, a singing, burning, joyful colour. Remember the blood and encourage victory.
Yeah.
Why did you just sigh? I mean, that is a good coding of the red colour there, isn't it? The colour red, vermilion.
Yeah, it's just not like that last sentence. Remember the blood and encourage victory.
Well, you can always turn these metaphors into spiritual ones, can't you? I mean, you know, the blood of life and encouraging victory over our sloth and qualities which we do not see as necessarily appropriate in ourselves.
Yeah.
The inner battle. For the green, which had no historical tradition in Portugal, it was given as an explanation that in the preparation of the uprising of January the 31st, 1891, the green would have appeared at the decisive moment when, under the fiery reverberation of the revolutionary flag, the Portuguese people, sparked the redemptive lightning of dawn.
I prefer that languaging.
The redemptive lightning of dawn. With regard to the armillary sphere, which had already been adopted as a personal emblem of Dom Manuel I, and has since been present in the national flagship, it enshrines the Portuguese maritime epic, culminating essential of our collective life. Yes, the great maritime traditions of Portugal. In turn, on the armillary sphere, the commission intended to make the white shield with the corners stand, consecrating the human miracle. You'll like this, Mrs. M. The human miracle of positive bravery, tenacity, diplomacy, and audacity that managed to tie the first links of the social and political affirmation of the Portuguese nationality.
That's good.
Love that.
Yeah,
absolutely love that. That could be, we could co-opt, could we not? We could share in that in some small way, the qualities of positive bravery, tenacity, diplomacy, and audacity. Finally, then, the commission understood that the white shield of corners should be surrounded by a wide crimson strip with 7 castles, considering that these are one of the most energetic symbols of national integrity and independence. That just got thrown in there. You know, like when you're writing an essay in an examination, and you've got to quickly write the last couple of paragraphs.
Yeah.
That sounds to me a bit like those. No disrespect intended. And thank you very much, Manifestis probatum.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Portugal.
Yes, happy birthday, Portugal.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So let's see what's being said in the chat. If Fiona turned up, is it all that talk of fermentation? I wonder. Pig nuts. What's this? Love. Okay, Mariah Carey. We dealt with her in a kimchi doubt you. Yet to find any pig nuts when foraging in the forest. Quite elusive. What are pig nuts, Mrs. M?
Don't know.
Plenty of pig nuts. Are they acorns down the road at Cindy's farm? But maybe not the ones you intended. Right, yeah, not that kind of pig nut. Sing can't live if living with is without you.
Yeah.
Using what I type. Oh, I see. Kimchi dibby doubt you. I see. Very good.
Very good.
That's Nielsen originally, isn't it? I think the guy rearranging furniture on his rooftop doesn't realize the hotel opposite can see his reflection in the window. I've seen the moon as well as the sun now.
Well, aren't you lucky, there, Darren?
Oh,
and he didn't even charge you for that.
That's
little
right.
looky-loo.
Yeah, and Pete Bleach in a similar condition painting later on today. Why is there no day off celebrations for Portugal's birthday? Because we'd never be at work. We would discovered 3 of them, Fiona. That'll be us another 3 days off to add to the already packed.
No, I'm with Fiona there. Let's have a day off.
Seems a bit weird for here. Yeah, to miss an opportunity on having a day off. I'm mentally preparing for my Ceph office chaos later today. Well, gird your loins, my friend.
Yes, good luck with that.
Good luck. Yeah, absolutely. We'll sort with that. Maybe he wants you to look. There are such people, of course, aren't there? Exhibitionists who are there for the voyeurs. Perhaps look away. Oh, it's a great test of willpower. That you will or won't look over there, Darren. I love the Calçada job that they're doing. Okay, so they're digging up to install the drain. Thank you very much for that, Lord Gilchrist. The green and red equals the Sporting to Benfica fan base in Lisboa. Yes, more red than green. And happy birthday, Portugal. Sounds like a good reason for some celebrations.
Yes, we should celebrate this afternoon.
Let's definitely celebrate. And I heard the flag was based on the traffic lights. A plausible theory among many that have come in this morning about all sorts of things. I think we would struggle to fit more information into a radio show and phone in than we have done this morning. Amazing. 2 hours, chock full of information, things we didn't know about the doc and his trading habits.
Really? Yeah, oh, what's he trade?
He's the Lobo de Leiria.
Okay, the Wolf of Leiria.
Yep, the Wolf of Leiria. And you can't get, as far as we know, get a decent pint of Murphy's in Portugal yet. Villamora is your best bet for that. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to push the button on the jingle in just a moment. Fiona, June 10th is celebrated as the Day of Portugal. Okay, there's another date for you.
And is that why they're starting... Is that why they're starting our festas on June the 10th?
No, that is
because we've got the
Santantonio festa. Yeah,
Santantonio.
Oh, I see.
For 8 or 9 days, isn't it?
We've got 8 or 9 days of partying upcoming in San Martin de Porto, where, of course, we have our meetup today. So maybe see you at the meetup at Palmeira Cafe later on today. But yeah, I think you're right. There is a Santantonio procession, which may well tie in with June 10th celebrations for the day.
Well, it starts on June the 10th because I was looking at the dates.
That sounds perfect to me.
Well, it's on the Saturday, isn't it?
Yep. And I mean, it just went on and on, didn't it, last year?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And it will do again this year too. So why not pop to see San Martin de Porto at its finest, or at its busiest and noisiest, to be fair. Some people prefer it a little bit quieter here.
Yeah, a couple of our friends that were living right on the front got a little bit upset about it.
Right. But it's if you want to party and you want to see San Martin de Porto, that's the time to come from the 10th onwards for about 10 days. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow with Heather and wish you a great day ahead. Mrs. M, anything to add?
No, just have a fantastic time.
Carry on fermenting, everybody.
Yes, carry on fermenting.
Okay, enjoy your cheese.